Rolling out the dough, just make sure you roll it slow. When you make the dough too quick, the big butt can make you sick.
When you pour filling in, just make sure you wear a grin.
And you smile at what you bake.
Sometimes a sitcom launches with unforgettable charm and leaves us wondering what could have been. Too often, a show's magic fades fast once its freshest jokes and heartfelt moments are spent. Here's a countdown of 10 sitcoms that probably should have taken a final bow after just one golden season. Number 1. The Brady Bunch. Let's go back to 1969 when television families first welcomed Mike and Carol Brady, their 6 rambunctious kids, and pint-sized Alice the housekeeper into their living rooms. Season 1 of The Brady Bunch served up a simple, heartfelt blend of misadventures, step-sibling jealousies, teen crushes, awkward school dances, all resolved with a gentle speech and a group hug. Audiences connected with its sincere, sometimes corny warmth, as if catching fragments of their own kitchen table conversations. But as the show entered the 70s, the sparkle began to fade. Writers leaned on increasingly far-fetched plot twists, cursed tiki idols in Hawaii, a spontaneous trip to meet astronaut Alan Shepard, and, most notoriously, the arrival of Cousin Oliver in Season 5, a desperate attempt to regain lost youth and charm. These later years became the punchline for everything hokey in sitcom land, with even loyal fans longing for the uncluttered stories that had once set the Bradys apart. The series might have shined brightest as a time capsule of its beginnings, snapshots of bell-bottoms, backyard football, and a family trying to knit itself together. There's something timeless about a story that knows when to say goodbye. Number 2. The Love Boat. Picture the gentle sound of a cruise ship horn and the gleaming decks of the Pacific Princess ushering in 1977's most whimsical new show. The Love Boat began as a breezy TV movie and quickly set sail as a weekly anthology, its first season delighting viewers with compact, heartfelt tales of romance and misadventure. Each episode brought new faces, sometimes those of Hollywood legends, looking for love or simply a little fun at sea. The format was fresh, light stories, rotating casts, and just enough heart to keep you rooting for the star-crossed couples swirling around Julie, Doc, and Captain Steubing. But as the season sailed on, the formula tightened its grip. By leaning into celebrity cameos and outlandish romantic entanglements, The Love Boat traded its early season spark for predictable plots and sitcom excess. What started as sparkling champagne tales fizzled into familiar tropes: love triangles, slapstick misunderstandings, and shipboard cliches. By its final episodes in 1986, the ship felt less like a dreamy getaway and more like a floating stage for TV's B-list parade. Ask any longtime viewer, and they'll likely tell you. Season 1 carried the real magic, with a simplicity and warmth later. Seasons couldn't match. Close your eyes and you might still hear the theme song, see the crisp white uniforms, and remember when love stories at sea felt exciting rather than recycled. Set your course. The journey through TV's almost perfect first seasons has just begun. Number 3. Happy Days. You can practically hear the low rumble of a 1950s Chevy coasting down the street as the original Happy Days flickers onto your screen. Debuting in 1974 on ABC, the show invited families back in time to the sun-dappled nostalgia of post-war Milwaukee, anchored by the sweet, slightly awkward Richie Cunningham and his close-knit folks. Early episodes moved with a gentle rhythm, filling each week with small-town warmth, understated laughs, and coming-of-age lessons that felt personal, like finding your place, asking for a date, or trying to please your parents. Henry Winkler's Fonzie was there, of course, but more as Richie's older cool friend, leather jacket and all, than a cartoonish superhero. But soon, America's love for Fonz mania burst through the diner's swinging doors. The show traded its hush for a louder, zanier style, as new catchphrases and increasingly wild plot lines, think Fonz literally jumping a shark in Season 5, took over. What began as a sensitive ensemble became a pop phenomenon, but the subtle magic of Season 1 faded behind canned laughter and outlandish hijinks. Watching those early episodes now is like stumbling on an old photo album. The faces are familiar, but the world feels almost vulnerable, even a bit quieter. Next time you catch the pilot, listen for the warmth that made Happy Days special, and remember what was lost once the jukebox started playing for the world. Number 4. Family Matters. You could almost smell the Sunday night dinners and hear that familiar peal of laughter echoing through the Winslow living room. Family Matters arrived in 1989 as a relatable ABC sitcom, originally giving us a heartfelt portrait of the Winslow family as they faced real-life struggles with tenderness and humor. Harriet and Carl Winslow felt like neighbors. Their kids reminded you of your own siblings, and the show's simple stories of family, community, and growing up in Chicago gave it a comforting warmth in a crowded TV landscape. But as Season 1 faded out, something unexpected happened: the arrival of Steve Urkel. Suddenly, the down-to-earth dynamic was swept away in a whirlwind of wild gadgets, wacky time machines, and madcap inventions. Jaleel White's nerdy charm turned Family Matters into a phenomenon, but the shift also spelled the end of the Winslows' earnest storytelling. By Season 2, the show felt almost unrecognizable, more cartoon than kitchen table drama, leaving nostalgic fans longing for the honest, heartfelt tone of those early days. It makes you wonder what could have been if Family Matters had closed its curtains after its sublime first season, leaving its legacy of real talk and family ties intact. Those quiet dinners and genuine smiles linger in memory, a reminder of a sitcom that once took its name to heart. Number 5. Perfect Strangers. No one who watched ABC on a Friday night in 1986 could forget the mismatched pair of Balki Bartokomous and cousin Larry Appleton. Fresh from the fictional Mediterranean island of Mypos, Balki brought heart, naivete, and offbeat humor to Chicago, while Larry played the tightly wound straight man. Their opposites-attract chemistry was instantly endearing. Season 1 delivered lovable culture clashes, fish-out-of-water antics, and running gags that never felt stale. Even the theme song, "Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now," captured that sense of hope and possibility. But as Perfect Strangers rolled on, the show leaned into repetitive tropes. Storylines started to feel familiar rather than fresh, with Balki's innocent misunderstandings and Larry's overreactions recycling to diminishing returns. What began as inspired sitcom magic slowly transformed into formula, the quirky brilliance of those first few episodes giving way to predictable slapstick and catchphrases. By the late seasons, it was as if the show's own characters were trapped in an endless loop of gags and misunderstandings. That first year, though, still glimmers in memory. A reminder of when sitcoms could turn a simple, odd couple premise into something winning and joyful. For many fans, Season 1 of Perfect Strangers isn't just a sweet blast from the past. It's the version they most want to revisit when they need a little heartfelt silliness. Let's pause for a second.
Potato crumbs, my favorite!
Did you love Perfect Strangers from the start, or did you check out after Season 1? Share your favorite Balki moment, or let us know which season you think had the most heart in the comments below. Number 6. Welcome Back, Kotter. The unmistakable sound of that theme song, "Welcome Back," still conjures up memories of crowded Brooklyn classrooms and quick-witted banter. When Welcome Back, Kotter debuted on ABC in 1975, it was lightning in a bottle. Gabe Kaplan starred as the genial, wisecracking teacher returning to his alma mater, guiding a band of lovable misfits known as the Sweat Hogs. Each Sweat Hog was larger than life. Vinnie Barbarino, played by John Travolta, became a heartthrob almost overnight, while Horshack's nasal laugh was the punchline in living rooms everywhere. That first season delivered gut-busting setups and heartfelt moments, tapping into the pulse of a diverse America while spinning every lesson with warmth. But as the seasons ticked by, something shifted. Travolta's star rose, leading to less screen time. Other core actors began drifting away, and the chemistry that made the show sparkle faded. Plots grew thinner, and jokes recycled old catchphrases. Gone was the vibrant energy students and teachers shared in those early storylines. By the time the bell rang for the final episode in 1979, Welcome Back, Kotter felt like it had stayed a bit too long after class. Still, that magical first season lives on in the hearts of fans who crave smart laughs and a dash of nostalgia. The laughter and camaraderie of those first episodes remind us how fresh and fleeting the magic of great sitcoms can be.
I'm sorry, but this doesn't look like no stork to me.
Number 7. Mork and Mindy. The late 70s crackled with something electric the moment Robin Williams crash-landed as Mork from Ork in the first season of Mork and Mindy. In 1978, thanks to Williams's feverish improv and Pam Dauber's eternally patient Mindy, audiences were glued to their sets, unsure of what zany twist would come next. Williams was given free rein in those early episodes, riffing lines that left fellow actors, cameras, and viewers dazzled by his unpredictability. It was comedy lightning in a bottle. Each week felt fresh, unpredictable, and slightly magical. but good ratings can be a curse. By the time Season 2 rolled around on ABC, the show leaned into outlandish storylines and stunt casting, hoping to keep the buzz alive. Gone were the flights of comedic improvisation that made those original outings so memorable. Instead came guest aliens, wild plot contrivances, and attempts to appeal to younger kids with cartoonish antics. Suddenly, what started as a clever, offbeat sitcom morphed into something noisy and uneven. Still, that first season stands as a masterclass in letting genius run wild. If you ask die-hard fans, or those who watched live in 1978, most would agree. Mork's first year in Boulder captured an energy no script could bottle twice. Maybe that's why it still feels so alive, all these years later, leaving us wanting one more spin in Mork's egg-shaped ship, back when anything felt possible. Number 8. Charles in Charge. Nothing conjures 80s nostalgia quite like the gentle strum of a sitcom theme and the comforting chaos of a makeshift family. Charles in Charge, premiering in 1984 on CBS, delivered a clever, offbeat glimpse into college-aged Charles's double life as a student and live-in caretaker to the Pembroke family. Scott Baio anchored the show with low-key charm, and the ensemble cast struck an authentic chord, mixing college pranks with believable sibling squabbles and sweet, sometimes awkward moments of connection. But after just one season, everything changed. When the show was revived for syndication in 1987, the original cast vanished. The Pembrokes packed up and were replaced by the Powells, ushering in a baffling new normal that never felt quite right. The unique rapport had evaporated, replaced by louder jokes and exaggerated antics that veered into camp. Producers hoped broader situations and flashier punchlines might hook a wider audience, but longtime fans missed the relatable complications and wit of Season 1. The heart and humor that once set Charles in Charge apart became diluted in favor of formula. Still, you can almost hear that catchy, feel-good theme tune and remember what it felt like when sitcom families, odd as they were, really mattered. The short-lived original blend of college chaos and genuine care left many wishing Charles had just stayed in charge of his first, more lovable crowd. Number 9. The Single Guy. You could practically feel the promise in that first season. Jonathan Silverman as the lovable, slightly neurotic Jonathan Elliott, navigating single life in New York with a blend of self-deprecation and heart. In 1995, The Single Guy hit NBC's Thursday night lineup, hoping to capture the same magic as its must-see TV siblings. The premise was as clean as it was clever, a novelist whose personal life never quite matched the storybook endings he craved. But after the debut season's charm, something started to slip. Instead of growing, the show became tangled in recycled jokes and increasingly improbable situations. The supporting cast, including Mark Moses and Joey Slotnick, never got the kind of development that can turn a sitcom ensemble into a family. By Season 2, audiences realized that while Jonathan Elliott spun his wheels, so did the writers, relying on tired neighbor antics and rehashed romantic blunders. Even guest stars like Ming-Na Wen and Jessica Hecht couldn't recapture the spark. NBC kept The Single Guy afloat until 1997. But fans and critics alike sensed the magic had faded. It became that rare show people remembered for its potential, not its longevity. You might still catch a rerun, catching Silverman's grin and feeling a brief pang for what could have been. A perfect single season left to linger, soft as the echo of a Manhattan cab horn. Number 10. Gomer Pyle, USMC. Few television moments capture pure innocence quite like the debut season of Gomer Pyle, USMC in 1964. Jim Nabors' first turn as the wide-eyed, honest Gomer was a breath of fresh air against the more hard-edged comedies and dramas of the era. Each week, viewers tuned in to see Gomer's rural naivete collide with the rigid routines of marine life, leading to gentle misunderstandings and surprisingly heartfelt laughs. The joy came not from slapstick, but from Gomer's kind spirit and the patience of his often bewildered Sergeant Carter, played by Frank Sutton. Those early episodes thrived on newness, with every mix-up feeling both unexpected and warmly silly. A live-wire chemistry between Neighbors and the supporting cast that genuinely endeared itself to families across CBS's lineup. But as the seasons pressed on, the plots grew predictable. The once surprising blunders became formula, recycling Gomer's innocent mistakes as the core joke. By the later years, even the most loyal fans sensed the magic of that 1964 debut had faded, drowned by repetition. Still, ask anyone who loved the show, and they'll recall that first year's wholesome humor most fondly. Gomer's golly ringing out across black and white sets, the sitcom's gentle heart beating strongest before it settled into routine. As applause faded and credits rolled, it was clear that some stories shine brightest before they're retold too many times.